Welcome to the 25 Days of Flows, the Power Automate Advent Calendar. I'm so excited to share and to start off this 25 Days of Flows. There's been a lot of feedback already that people are excited about this. And even other products at Microsoft have started doing Advent calendars, which is really exciting and such a compliment. So I'm very excited about all of this activity around sharing the wonderful tools that we have at Microsoft in the holiday season. So, as explained earlier, there will be 25 days. Today is day one. And if I click on day one, you already know this because I shared it with you in the announcement that the first flow would be a way to get notified on new videos from me. And basically, today's video will have in the description a link to where you can download the flow because the Power app itself won't be available until December 26th because I don't want to give away all the days. That's why. So each day you'll get one flow a day, and then on December 26th you'll get the whole app and you can download them whenever you like. Remember that when you download these flows, they're also useful not only as standalone flows, but you can insert them into your own flows to create more value in the flows that you already have just by using our copy and paste features. So keep that in mind as you follow the series. So right now, I'm just going to assume that I've downloaded this already, but I want to give you a little bit of an introduction as to what how to import them, as well as some of the verbiage. So let me kind of start with some of the words I'll be using just to get everybody level set into what I'm talking about. So of course, we're talking about Power Automate, and in Power Automate, there are three types of flows. There's automated, scheduled, and instant. And automated is just what it says. It's going to automatically trigger based on an event. That could be a new email was received, a SharePoint list item was edited, a lead was qualified to be an opportunity, a new case was opened, or an old case was closed. All of those are events that can be used to trigger a flow under the category of automated. Then there's scheduled. Scheduled flows are more about calendars. You can trigger a flow to start the first of every month, or every week on Monday at 8 a.m., or every night daily at midnight. And you think about, I love using scheduled flows for reporting. I can give people a list of the newest opportunities that are pending. I can give people an update as to how many change requests we've approved. I can also report on any events that are upcoming. So I can use it for reporting, but I can also use it to trigger things like PowerShell scripts so that maybe I can patch my on-premises servers every Tuesday based on a flow that's triggered on Tuesday. Also, thirdly, we have instant flows, and these are flows that can be triggered on demand, either using a digital button, maybe on your mobile device, or a physical button, like a flick. I can have a red flick that I pop or stick to the side of a cash register. And I just tell my cash register person, just tap that red button if you run out of coffee, and we'll have some coffee sent down to the barista. So it is very easy to use both physical and digital buttons to make life easier for everyone. And the people who press that button, they don't need to know how to use Flow. They don't even need to know how the flow works. They just know if I press that button, I'll get more coffee, or if I press that button, it'll plot my location on a map. So think about those things as you learn about using Power Automate. I also want to talk a little bit about connectors, because connectors are very important in Flow, because what you're doing with connectors is you are using that flow in harmony with other services, whether they be cloud services or on-premise gateways. You're using these connectors to connect to a data source or to connect to a cloud service. And basically, there are two types, standard and premium. But there's also like freemium. And what I mean by that, which is not like it's not its own connector type, it's really just the standard that are available if you were to sign up for Flow on your mobile device and you used your Gmail account or something. You did not use a work or school account. It's a great way to play around with Power Automate without having to be in part of a company or anything. But in that case, it's particularly for personal or single individual use. But what we offer in the cloud subscriptions is either standard or premium connectors. Standard connectors are usually included with cloud subscriptions. For instance, SharePoint is a standard connector for Office 365, or Dynamics for Sales may be a connector that is included in a Dynamics package. And so depending on which cloud services you're signed up with, you're going to get a set of standard connections. Then there's premium connectors, and premium connectors require a little bit more cost, either via an upgrade or an add-on, but they're gonna cost a bit more because they're higher value. So I'm not going to go into any licensing or pricing discussions during these 25 days of flows. However, I'm going to provide a link in the description to the pricing as well as the pricing guide so that you can understand how our products are cost, right? What do you have to budget in order to evaluate or use these products, okay? And so that'll be in the description area. I'm not going to talk about it much, but I will always let you know if I'm using a premium connector. One that's not mentioned on this slide is custom connectors. And custom connectors can be made to any REST API. So perhaps you look at these 270 plus connectors and you say, oh, it doesn't have our call center service. And if your call center service is a software as a service that is in the cloud that has a REST API, then no problem. You can either create your own custom connector in a similar way as how you use Postman to connect to it. You can use those collections from Postman to create a Swagger file and therefore have a definition that you can use in the Power Platform, okay? Or you can use a premium connector like the HTTP request connector to connect to it in the way that you do with Postman. So you have options to have custom connectors, bottom line, that you create yourself, and they're not difficult to create. They can be created in less than an hour. All right, so that's the whole. I think these are keywords you should kind of get used to. Today, our first flow is all about YouTube and notifications. So when we think about the type of flow, you can see that I put that in parentheses up here. This flow is automated, so it is triggered whenever I upload a video. Okay, the connectors that we're using are both standard. There's YouTube and notifications. And just if you ever want to know more about connectors, I'll show you where you go. So we're going to go back to this area, and then we're going to look at the connectors tab in Power Automate. And if you notice up here, you can search or you can just browse them, right? Now, important to know the difference between standard and premium. Over here at the top right, you can drop down that filter and it will show you, it will enable you to filter for premium connectors so that you can know which ones would cost a little bit more and which ones versus the ones that are standard that you don't have to, they're included in your cloud subscriptions, okay? So it's a good way to kind of be able to predict what's important. And what I will normally do is I will look for what matters to me first, like let me check that out, and then I can tell it's not premium because it doesn't have that premium flag. And I can go ahead and click on it to see the entire page. We have a page dedicated to each connector. At the top, it has the name and the description and a link to the documentation. Any triggers and actions are highlighted, and then underneath that big value add, we give you a bunch of templates. So there's actually a template for exactly what I want to do today. There's two that would work really well. So if you don't want to download my flow and you want to do your own, you can just use a template and edit the template. Okay, you can do that as well. Or this is such an easy one, you probably can create it from scratch without a problem. So I'm going to click on See Documentation. And this enables me to go and peek at the doc page. Even if this appears a little intimidating to those of you that have never worked with REST APIs, don't let it intimidate you. There's always important information on these pages. And so if you use a particular connector often, you should have examined that connector's page. Because it's good to know what are the dependencies. It'll have a description. It'll also explain any dependencies. In this case, you cannot use the YouTube connector unless you have a Google account, right? And then in addition to having a Google account, it tells you where to go sign up for that account. So it's helpful. It also tells you the triggers and the actions. Again, this is an automated one, and so it needs these triggers. And you can see there's no actions for the YouTube connector. There's only triggers. So all I can do is pick up when an event occurs, such as a new video matches a search, a video is uploaded by a channel, or when I myself upload a video. Okay? So interestingly enough, the notification page is the opposite. Notifications only has actions and no triggers. So basically the two actions are send me a mobile notification, requires that you have Microsoft Flow on your phone, and send me an email notification, which is a very simple email notification that will use the account that you've signed into with Flow. So good idea to look at these pages. There are always throttling limits. This means how frequently can these calls be made before we start to throttle. And it even gives you all the responses. But if you don't understand everything, at least pick up the description, the dependencies, and whether or not there are triggers and actions. Most connectors have both triggers and actions, but as you can see here, some only have actions and some only have triggers. And that's what we're seeing with these two here. Okay, so now when you download it from the Power App, you'll click that link, or you'll download it from the Power Automate Community Webinar Gallery, which is where it will go every day these next 25 days. You will now have that zip file on your computer. And when you have that zip file, you can import it. So let's do a quick import just to show you before I dig into let's go to Power Automate. Remember that we are now Power Automate. So where you might have been looking under F for Flow before, remember we are now Power Automate. So you want to look under P at your All Apps and then go to My Flows. I'm going to go to this one here where I already imported it in, but I do want to show you how you do an import. So from My Flows, you click on Import. And let's see, I will actually delete this one so that we don't override it. We could have overridden it, but I'm going to do it as new. And then I'm going to upload from the download that I did. So I downloaded day 1, and you can see these are named with their day, and they're all zip files because we've packaged everything you need into the Flow when we export, so that now you just have this one package to import. And so when you're doing your import, it will take a couple of seconds, so just don't navigate from that page. And then they're all set up as create as new, but what's important is that you can select your connections. So you can just click on select doing import and pick up your connections, just one at a time. If you don't have a connection that's listed, you can click create new, which will take you to your connections page so that you can create your own connection to that connector, all right, just by clicking new connection. And then you can go up here to the right and search for that connection, and then you hit the plus sign to create it. All right, I have one, so I'm not going to create this, but that's how easy. Once you see it there, you can now use it to import your flow. Now, very important point, every connection needs to authenticate you in that service. So remember that you must have an account in that service if it's third party. If it's not Office 365, then it's third party. You have to have an account to sign into that service, and you'll just sign into it. No different than you like sign into Facebook, for instance, okay? So then after you have the connection, you'll go back to the tab where you were doing the import. We don't take you back to the tab, so you'll have to take yourself back to the tab, and then you'll hit refresh list, which will go and look for anything new, like the one you just made, and you can select it and hit save. All right. Key points to importing is just making sure that you have the appropriate connections. You could create your connections first and then do the import. That way you make sure that when you click select during import, you see one. But even if you don't, you can create it as you do the import, and then that gives you your connection to that service. And so there you go. And then as soon as it gets done, you click open flow and it's there. Remember that you do imports from My Flows. You just start up here at import. All right. And then you can click open flow from the import page, or you can refresh your My Flows page and you'll see it. All right. Either way. So I imported it already, and now I have it open so I can show it to you. And basically, you have to pick the channel ID of which is me, which is just Audrie Gordon. That's the name of my channel. It's Audrie Gordon. And if you're subscribed to me, it will probably kick right in because the channel ID shouldn't be lost in the import. But if it doesn't kick in, then you'll hit the drop down here on the right and you'll select Audrie Gordon. Now, by the way, it will show you all accounts that you are subscribed to. So you don't have to do this for my channel. You can do it for any channel you're subscribed to. Again, you need to subscribe to the channel in order to be able to see it in this channel ID drop down. All right. Once you select it, you're done. And then you can set up your push notification. So if you like what I did, you can leave it and you're done, or you can change it. So I combine text with tag. So this is the video name. So I'll just delete this and show you how I added it. I just typed new video, and then I looked for the name of the video, which is the video summary title. So not channel title, the video title. And then down here, I'll just delete this so you can see how easy. You just want to add the video link. So that one is video list, video web link. And that is the link that will take them to the video. And then what you type here is up to you, but it's what they'll see in order to click, because they won't see the full HTTP address from the link. They'll see whatever you typed down here, right? Unless you want them to see that address. In that case, you would put the web link tag in the label as well. But I put watch video. And basically that's it. When you hit save, it will automatically save this to your list of flows, and it will automatically work every time I upload a video. So a lot of things that we got in this day one, lots of tips interwoven in this discussion. Every day will be like this, because what I want to enable you to do is not only use these 25 flows, but also be able to take some lessons learned and some best practices from them that you can incorporate in your own flows. And don't forget that after you import these, you can go and copy these into your own flows by hitting the three dots and then hit copy to my clipboard. Then you can go to an entirely different flow and paste that into that flow using your clipboard. So you can move these actions and configurations around to your own flows. I look so forward to day 2. I know you're going to love it too. Lots of tips on templates coming tomorrow. I'm not going to tell you what the flow is. You'll be surprised. Happy holidays. I hope all of you are enjoying these Microsoft Advent calendars and that you are going to get great value from them. Have a happy holiday, and I'll see you tomorrow.